Okay, hello everyone. My name is Aftab Alam, and today we are going to start a chapter, and that is our environment, right? So, today we are going to take a session based on the chapter that is our environment. Okay, now see here. So, first of all, the chapter, as I said to you, that is our environment. So, do you have any idea which topic, or we can say which concept we are going to learn in the chapter? Do you have any idea about this? Okay, no issue. See here, in this chapter, basically, we are going to cover five broad, five broad concepts, right? The first one is the basic concept of basic definition, basic explanation of the concept that is environment, that is what is environment. Then we see what are those components which basically made of the environment, right? Then we see the concept of biosphere and how biosphere is basically importance for the environment. Then we see the concept of ecosystem. Basically, ecosystem is also a part of our environment. So we see how is basically ecosystem create the balance in the environment, and then the lastly we see the concept of human environment, that is what is human environment, what are its pros and cons, how human environment affect the basic concept of environment, and at the end of the session we will going to solve some questions answer or exercise from our book, right now. See the first slide here. So the slide says environment question mark, right? So basically, we are going to see an activity, right? We are going to see an activity. Then, through this activity, we are going to learn the concept of environment. See, first, if I tell you, observe the surrounding things which are there, right? Around your surroundings. So, first, we can say, yes, in our surroundings, the trees are there, right? The humans are there, the rivers are there, right? While on the other hand, if you observe, roads are there, bridges are there, even the multinational buildings are there. So if you observe in the right side, all these are all these are man-made, right? We can say all these are man-made. While on the other hand, see here, the left side, these all are the natural natural built up, right? They are grown or built by naturally. So if you observe, these all things, that is the natural as well as man-made, they combinedly create a condition. And condition for what? A condition for good living being. That means condition which provide us a good living condition for the humans. And that living condition is nothing but an environment. So what I can see is that environment is basically a composition of two things, that is nature and the man-made components, and that components combinedly create a condition for the living of a human organism, right? Or we can say any living part of the environment, right? And this living condition is basically, that is what, that is environment. So we can say environment means surroundings. And in surroundings, what are those things? It can be trees, human rivers, or it can be road, buildings, or bridges, right? Or condition within which any living organism exists, right? So this is called environment, right? If you observe, environment is basically derived from a French word, right? Derived from a French word. And what is that French word? You can say that French word is environner. What I said to you, environner. This is double N-E-R, environner. And do you know what does environment means? Environment means basically surroundings. So in a simple word, we can say environment means surroundings or conditions within which any living organism exists, right? Now see the next slide. Now the next slide says about components of environment, right? What I'm saying is that components of environment. See here is, if I ask you how many components are there which make up the environment, you can say there are two components of environment. The first one is natural components. The second one is human components. If you observe in our activity, we see that there are many things which are built up naturally, right? While on the other hand, on the right side, that components were made of the human builds. So we can say natural components and human components combinedly make up the environment, right? Our environment. Now see, if we further classify the natural component, that is a natural environment, we can further classify the natural environment into two basic parts, right? The first one is physical environment, while on the other hand, biological environment. So we can say environment has two components, natural and human, while on the other hand, natural environment is made up of physical environment as well as biological environment, right? See here, physical environment consists of all those things, all those elements which doesn't have any life. That means they are non-living elements on the earth. These are made of the physical environment, right? And in non-living, we are calling them as a abiotic. That means abiotic components means non-living elements on the earth, and these elements make up the physical environment. That means those elements which make up the physical environment, that is which make the environment and doesn't have any life, that are called physical environment. And the best example are land, sea, there is a no life on the land, right? Water, air, all these are abiotic, or we can say non-living element, and all these are a part of physical environment, and physical environment is a part of natural environment, and natural environment is a part of, or we can say component of what? Yes, environment. Now on the right side, if you observe, natural environment is also made up of biological environment. See, biological environment is also called as biotic. What I said to you, natural environment is also called as biotic environment, or we can say living. That means biological environment is made up of humans, plants, and animals. If you observe, yes, all these three are having the life. That means biotic, or we can say living. In this word, see here, biotic. Biotic means basically what? What I've written here is life, right? Bio means basically life. So those elements which consist life, just for example, human, plants, animal, all are called biotic animal, right? So what we have learned in this slide, that is natural environment is made up of two things. One is physical environment, other is biological environment, right? Physical environment is known as abiotic or non-living components. Biological environment is consists of living or biotic environment, right? Biotic components. Examples are there, right? These are the example of physical environment, while on the other hand, these are the example of biological environment. Now, see here, see, one important thing we must learn in the natural environment, that is, see here, natural environment is made up of biosphere, right? First, we have to know this flow chart, or we can say diagram. See here is, the first one is atmosphere. See, in the atmosphere, that means atmos means what? Wind, or we can say air, right? Atmos means air or wind. See in this diagram, the flow chart, that is hydro. Hydro means basically what? Hydro means basically water, right? See here in the third flow that diagram, that is called lithos. Lithos means basically what I've written here. See, rock, or we can say soil. See, Atmosphere, that means the sphere which consists wind or air. Hydrosphere, that is a sphere which consists water. Lithosphere, that means a sphere which consists rock and soil. See, if you observe, all this sphere is combinedly create one combined or one common sphere, and that sphere is called as biosphere. Here, hydrosphere, that means water, air, and soil, all these three elements are basic need of human beings, basic need of us. And if any element is not present in that cycle, that means there is a very much possibility of not any person is living without that element, right? So we can say all these sphere, that means water, soil, and air, combinedly create one common sphere, and that common sphere is called as biosphere. And in biosphere, bio means what? Bio means, I said to you, that is life. So all this sphere combinedly create biosphere, and biosphere is basically a part of which part? That is, we can say, natural environment, right? Just I'm going to revise this slide once again. That is, natural environment is made up of biosphere, and in biosphere, bio means life, and biosphere is basically made up of three things, that is atmosphere, hydrosphere, lithosphere. Litho means rock and soil, we can say. Hydro means water, we can say, as well as atmosphere, that means air, right? If you observe this diagram, this is the plant. Yes, plant is a living, biotic or abiotic? Yes, biotic. Living or non-living? Living, right? If you observe, plant needs air, plants need water, plants need soil. And this is combinedly a life-saving sphere. That means without biosphere, there is a no existence of human being. That means human need all these three components, all these three elements, right? Now, move to the next. Now we are going to see the in detail, that is lithosphere, biosphere, and hydrosphere. All are creating the biosphere, and biosphere is a part of natural environment, right? If we see, that is lithosphere, see, lithosphere is basically made up of two things. First one is ocean, second one is continent. If you observe, see here, lithosphere approximately 71% is made up of ocean, while on the other hand, 29% is continent, right? If you say what is lithosphere, you can say lithosphere, we can say, is also is called as crust, right? See, basically upper part, or we can say outermost layer of the earth. That means lithosphere is the outermost layer of the earth, and lithosphere is made up of two things, ocean and continent. Continent, that is 29%, ocean, that is 71%, right? So in general, we can say that is lithosphere, that is the term lithosphere refers to the earth's rigid rocky, that means is made up of rock, outer layer. It is made up of the crust and upper most solid layer of the mantle, right? Now see, here is one important thing the question may ask, that is why lithosphere is important for us. That means what are the importance of lithosphere? So you can say, see, lithosphere is made up of soil and rocks, and we use soil for what? We use soil for the agricultural purposes, right? As well as, see, many rocks and minerals we are using in our houses, even the for the jewelry we can using the minerals. All these are extracted from the lithosphere. So in terms of rock, in terms of mineral, in terms of agriculture, these all are the importance and use of the lithosphere. Now, after lithosphere, the second most sphere which made up the biosphere, that is the hydrosphere. And in the hydrosphere, hydro means water. So hydrosphere basically means all the, one second, all the water body. It can be in form of river, it can be in form of lakes, seas, oceans. All these water bodies combinedly come under the sphere that is called hydrosphere. See, Hydrosphere is the sum of Earth's water. As I said to you, it can be a ocean, or it can be a underground water, surface water, or in the air, right? Approximately 71% of the Earth is comprising of the water, right? And see here is even the very much small part is available for the drinking. That means for fresh water, right? So the question may ask, what are the importance of the hydrosphere? You can say we are using water for the industrial purposes. We are consuming water for the drinking, and even in the agricultural, water is very much important, right? So these are combined the hydrosphere, and these all are the importance of what? These are all the importance of hydrosphere. Now see here, the next slide. See the third layer which combinedly create the biosphere, that is atmosphere. In atmosphere, atmo means wind, or we can say air. See, first of all, see here is mixture of gases. See, we know many gases are there. Just for example, oxygen is there, nitrogen is there, carbon dioxide is there, ozone is there. There are many in the list, right? So all these gases, that means mixture of gases is called as air. I'm repeating, mixture of gases is called as air. And air is located in which, where we can find the air is found in the atmosphere, right? See here is an atmosphere is made of layer of gases surrounding our planet. That means the earth is surrounded by a thin layer of air, and that thin layer is nothing but a atmosphere, right? See, the Earth's atmosphere is composed of approximately 78% of nitrogen, 21% of oxygen, and the other remaining are fall in the 1%. See, what I'm saying here is that, see, suppose 100% is the atmosphere is there. In that 100%, the maximum percentage is taken by the nitrogen, that is 78%. While the second maximum percentage is fall under the category of oxygen. That means second most abundant gas is in the atmosphere, that is the oxygen, right? While see here is the third one is the organ, that is 0.90%, right? Then is the carbon dioxide, and the others are remaining in this 0.17%, right? So we can say in this slide, that is mixture of gases is called air, right? Which is the maximum gas in the atmosphere? You can say nitrogen. While on the other hand, oxygen is the second most percentage, right? Yes, fine. See here, in the next slide. Now, all these sphere, that is biosphere, hydrosphere, lithosphere, combinedly create which sphere? We can say biosphere. And see, basically, see, air we have taken from the atmosphere, soil from lithosphere, water from hydrosphere. So mixing zone of all the three sphere is basically called as biosphere. See here, biosphere provides life to all living organisms, from bacteria to huge trees. See, in biosphere, the main work of biosphere is providing the life. And to whom it provided the life? It provided life from small bacteria to a huge trees, right? To a huge trees, starting from a minor bacteria, or we can say miniature bacteria, to a huge trees, right? See, if we suppose this is a biosphere, see here is bird is dependent on biosphere, different animal, species, plant. See, all the varieties of animals are dependent on the biosphere, and biosphere is providing the life. So see, this variety of animals are dependent on the biosphere, and this variety in the biosphere is called as biodiversity. That means biodiversity is the great variety of animals and plants which are depending on the biosphere for their life. And this variety of animals and plants, their diversity in terms of species and in terms of uh, we can say animal types or plant types, this is called as biodiversity, right? That means different diversity in their life. That means biodiversity, right? Now see here. Now very much important question here is, see here. See, if you observe this image which I have put it here is, see, this part is called soil. This is water. See here, this is an biotic element, that is deer. See here is a plant, that is also biotic animal, biotic. See, while on the other hand, sunlight, soil, water, these all are the abiotic, right? See, if you observe, biotic and abiotic, right? They both are dependent, right? They both are dependent and they both are interrelated. That means we can say call as that means when biotic and abiotic elements combinedly create an relation for their living being, and this relation is nothing but because is a ecosystem. So what we can say is that an ecosystem is a community of organisms and their physical environment interacting together, right? Which involves living organisms as well as non-living physical organisms. See, what I'm saying here is that in a particular area, living organism is also there, non-living organism is also there, and their relation and their dependency to each other, and that relation is called as ecosystem. Just for example, we humans are a biotic, or we can say living organism, but the soil on the other hand, they are non-living. We are using the non-living, that is soil, for the agriculture. That means living and non-living are interacting to each other to fulfill our life, to fulfill their needs, and that interaction is called as what? That interaction is called as, yes, right, ecosystem. Now, see, the main work of ecosystem is that ecological balance. It creates the balance in the environment. Suppose there is a no soil, that means there is a no food to grow. There is a no water, that means there is a no water for drinking. There is a threaten for the life. That means a balance should be created by the ecosystem. Then the life will be exist in the biosphere. And this is how natural environment is sustained. And when natural environment is sustained, that means our environment is also sustained. Now, Now, see here is what is human environment. See, if you observe, we are basically a part of environment. See, earlier what happened is that human live according to the environment, right? But when time passes, with the matter of time, what is that? What happened is that the population of the human is increases, right? As well as their need is also increases, but the environment on the earth is very much, what we can say, very much limited. As a result, what happened is that, as a result, what happened, we human being what we did is that we trying to modify the environment to use for us, to using an environment for maximum benefit, right? And what happened is that this leads to different catastrophic changes in the environment, right? There is a huge amount of deforestation is there, right? There is a climate change is there. So human environment is consists of the cultures and their living style and their activities in the environment, that is called human environment. But what happened when with the passage of time, when population is increases, their need of increases in the human environment. What they did, they basically trying to modify the environment, right? Trying to use the environment for the maximum benefit. As a result, what happened? There is a negative effect, or we can say there is a negative response coming from the environment in terms of disaster, hazards, climate change, global warming, all are etc. Right? So this is how we have learned the basic concept of the environment, right? Thank you, everyone. If any doubt, uh, feel free to ask me, right? This is how we have completed the chapter, that is our environment. Okay. Bye, everyone. Take care.